Welcome everybody to another edition of the 39th edition of Wednesday Night is Overbooked. I know we seem a little short here. Matt will be with us. Matt will be with us shortly. Brad has work stuff to do in the morning, so he can't be here. Whatever. Okay. But not to be outdone, one of the longest members of this show, to my stage right here, Mr. Right Eye Humble, Midline Marcus. Nope, it is the one, the only LeftEyeEgo. How are you, sir?
Doing good, man. Ready to talk about what's going on, all things WWE, man. How about yourself?
I am doing good. Happy holidays, folks, as we're right in the midst of the holiday season, and WWE is giving us some gifts. Now, before we get into any of the topics, I saw this today, and we have reason to celebrate. We have reason to celebrate. Did you know that we have reason to celebrate?
I actually do not. What are we celebrating?
We are celebrating Liv Morgan being the Women's World Champion for 200 days officially, as recognized by the WWE. It's actually a little more than that, as she won the belt at King and Queen of the Ring on May 5th. So this math isn't quite mathing, but she in a sense has held the belt for 7 months, a lot longer than most folks thought she would.
Agreed.
So to say that she's just been a fill-in champion,
I'm feeling
not really there. So, but just getting into the topics to get started with here, the big thing on everyone's been talking about, as is coming up very, very soon, is the move to Netflix. This is a very, very big deal, as Netflix over the next. Oh, we have a comment up here. What we got here? Hey, hello, Mr. Horny Alf. How are you, sir?
Welcome, good sir.
Welcome. Always good to see Alf in the chat there. So, Netflix, when it was announced that they were making this deal, it is a 10-year, $5 billion deal. That's a lot of cash.
A lot.
So they just had their big press gala junket not too long ago at Netflix headquarters last week. The likes of Bianca Belair were there, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Seth Rollins, and Becky Lynch were there, along with Nick Khan, Paul Levesque, and Netflix executives. And one of the things that initially had folks kind of excited about this was going to Netflix. So it's not going to be on cable TV. It's not going to be on network TV. So it's not beholden to these FCC guidelines as far as language and content. And folks were thinking of a edgier Attitude Era style of show. And actually, Alf, I am doing just fine, sir. And I hope you and your family are doing well. Happy holidays. And so Nick Khan, the president of the WWE, said this, has confirmed that WWE's move to Netflix will not be R-rated and will stay, quote unquote, family friendly. Now, and a couple other things he said about this is the WWE wants to keep this product, aka family friendly, multi-generational, which is a very key term that he used, and not only family friendly, but advertiser friendly.
Yeah.
So when I hear multi-generational, this is something that we in the space where I started off in the genre era of YouTube. We would be talking about things that were passed down to us by family, our love of sci-fi, comic books, toy collecting, TV, this, that, and the other. So this is going to reach a lot more eyes on Netflix as the way it works internationally.
Yeah.
Outside the US, everything is going to be on Netflix.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So Raw, SmackDown, NXT, all premium live events. We're here in the US because the WWE still has contracts with Peacock, the USA Network, and they just entered one with the CW for NXT. Those existing contracts are going to play out first. So I think this is actually the smart thing to do. Ego, your thoughts?
No, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, you're going to have to make it at least somewhat family friendly to air on there. I mean, I have the Netflix where we don't have commercials, so I don't know how that's going to work, if they're going to put them in or not, if you paid not to have them. But yeah, you have to be somewhat friendly to your advertisers. I mean, it's even as bad as it was during the Attitude Era. I mean, I can say family friendly to me in this day and age kind of means PG-13. It's not, going to be all rainbows and cuddle bears, but it's going to have some substance and not be, Game of Thrones with wrestling. Right. I think it's what everyone thinks when they think of rated R now. You're like, certain things don't need that, and wrestling is one of them. Like, you can tell a story without having a result to smut. You can have something that are suggestive, but not necessarily. Hold up, dude. My bad. Let me get these puffs out of the way. My bad. Sorry.
And we're just going to add our newest member here. Says we are now a trio instead of a quote. We're now a trio instead of a duo here. We have the magnificent medical marvel, Matt. How are you, sir?
Welcome, dude.
Doing good today. It was a good day. Although wait, because certain things that used to take 5 minutes before this mess now take 25 minutes. But
all right.
That's life.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So we were just talking about Nick Khan and the Netflix WWE press junket that they had, where Nick Khan kind of put the hopes and dreams of a lot of the IWC hoping for a return to way more adult theme, more of an attitude era with no restrictions when Raw goes over to Netflix. And he said it is still going to be a TV PG, a family friendly product, TV PG. As you said, the goal is to be family friendly, multi-generational, and advertiser friendly.
Yeah, I was caught some of that, and here's my prediction. Okay, based on that, we've seen a lot of ECW resurgence in the last year or two. I think to capture the sort of more adult brand, we're going to see an ECW 3.0 probably in 2026.
Maybe that's possible.
Like now under Netflix with their parental controls, isolated, like no crossover at all. Like that type of thing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, yeah.
So here is my thought overall. Is the product on Netflix going to look and sound the same as it does on USA? No, it's not. I think that whereas on the USA and especially on Fox, when the crowd would chant stuff like "Holy shit, holy shit," that is not going to get dubbed out.
Right.
So, and occasionally you may see more colorful language, but it's going to depend on the individual that is doing that vocal spot. Like a couple of weeks ago, the Kevin Owens rant to Cody Rhodes on Netflix, you could have easily dropped an F-bomb in the middle of that.
The thing, like,
and it would have completely made sense for the context in which this part of the story there. Ellen. You want to say something? Matt?
Well, when Ego was a little kid, any cursing at all was rated R. Now
Right.
you can get like shows targeting like 10-year-olds where they curse left and right.
Right. Correct.
You know,
Fair.
so I mean, and I don't like. I grew up Italian with obviously a lot of potty words, especially I only had potty words by the time I was 5.
You.
But I was told the funny thing is I would only get yelled at when I would say the English ones. And the
Okay.
Italian ones, oh, it's so cute. He's speaking the Italian. You know, I go call it Fangulo. And he go, it's so cute. He's $1.
Mm-hmm.
No, cursing in English is a slap. You know, it's like
Right.
But it's gonna be an interesting thing because, well, here's the thing. USA is, even though it's a cable network, it's really still a broadcast network. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Yeah.
Whereas Netflix, you have to get it if you want it. You have to click it. You know,
Right.
so they'll get away with a lot more. Like we'll probably see blood coming back in a lot more matches. You know.
Yes and no. I would say that it could definitely be a part of it.
Well, you're not going to see cutting, but you'll see like guys with bloody lips or whatever. You know, looking like they were in a fight. You know.
It'll be more akin to as the story needs it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like under Vince, there was like no blood at all. Like even if you're in a hell in a cell, keep the blood down. I know you're chainsawing each other, but no blood. You know.
Yeah, there was the color kind of stopped, and that's when the PG era, the overly kid friendly programming happened. But I mean, the WWE is kind of telling adult stories as it is. I mean, Liv and Dom, the
well, they're doing like they're doing like PG-13 romance, like insinuation without like
showing.
You know, and that's all fine. I mean, I only wish the story like we talked about this all year. There was only one female storyline that matters now. It's Tiffany cashing in, right?
Yeah.
And the other one that mattered until the second injury was Rhea Liv.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, and every other female storyline at the top level, like
there was none.
Yeah.
Well, and you can have mid-card storylines, you know,
right.
But they don't. But whoever the writing team is for the women, doesn't
just drop the ball.
They just throw matches out there with these mid-carders. They have no.
Yes.
Well, there was one mini feud with Michin and Chelsea Green that ended in the dumpster match. That was a good little series.
But that I have no problem with that. I'm saying, but that's not a top level feud.
No,
you know,
no.
That's one that, and you had early in the year you had Bailey and the breakup with
Damage Control.
Yeah, which makes me laugh. I don't know what I want to laugh more at: Bailey being friendly with Damage Control again, or Seth Rollins like saying he'll never trust Roman Reigns. When it was Seth Rollins, it was Plan B. Remember that?
Right.
Everyone remember Plan B was Seth Rollins.
Right.
You know?
So going into that, as far as storytelling goes, the WWE now has this to deal with, and let me just pull this up right here. As Michael Cole said last week on SmackDown.
We heard earlier today that with Raw moving to Netflix on January 6th, and of course SmackDown kicking off the new year January 3rd, we expect major changes on SmackDown as well. We understand that the NXT, the Raw, and SmackDown general managers all working together to move some of our superstars.
Okay. To move some of their superstars. So on SmackDown that week, we saw 3 superstars from Raw conveniently talking to SmackDown GM Nick Aldis. And then on Monday, we saw 2 pretty big SmackDown superstars talking to Raw GM Adam Pearce. Now, I've got some theories, and this is going to play out into what we're going to talk about in a little bit afterward, afterward as well. So the first time we heard this term, transfer window, was when Chad Gable with Alpha Academy walked out on stage while Cody was doing a promo in the ring. Well, Chad Gable's on Raw. They're showing up on SmackDown. This ended up in a match, and I believe it was me who said not too long ago that Raw is not really working for Chad Gable. Now there's nowhere for him to go. If the entire faction of American Made got moved to SmackDown, which just so happens to be where the United States Championships are, American Made, United States Championship
makes sense.
It's just kind of tailor-made there.
Yeah.
Then we saw as to one of the back hallway walking spots, we saw Bianca walking out or walking down the hallway, talking to someone and walking away. In the background, we see Nick Aldis talking to Dirty Dominic Mysterio. So the prevailing thought is, well, is Dom going to go to SmackDown? And if by extension with Dom, would Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez go to SmackDown as well? No. I'm going to answer that right now. No. Because again, I'm going to go back to Netflix. $5 billion. They're gonna get a lot of what they want as far as the roster looks. And who is the biggest female merch seller right now in the WWE?
Oh, it's Liv Morgan.
Liv Morgan.
Okay.
Followed right behind by Rhea Ripley.
Oh, okay.
Now I do think, and this will come into something later on. So why would a member of the Judgment Day be talking to the SmackDown general manager?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out myself. What you got?
Oh, he's setting someone up to get removed from Judgment Day. To get removed from Judgment Day. And that individual, Finn Balor.
That's cool. I like this. Okay.
Balor needs a reboot. I mean, he is still one of the top 25 wrestlers in the world. He's still fairly young.
Oh, really?
But he's like 35, 40-ish now, if I recall correctly.
Well, funny to say that
but he's how do I put it? He's stuck in the mid card in a way that he can never get out of.
On Raw, he is.
Yeah.
On Raw,
well, his character needs a sort of tune up. You know what I mean? Like even on SmackDown or whatever, you got if to me, Finn Balor was tailor made for an ECW. Like do his New Japan stuff, full demon Prince Balor. You know what I mean? But if you don't want to go that far, put him in the Wyatts. You know, just demon all the time.
Well, here's a thought, because this came out where it says this is from WrestleVotes, which is a very reliable source. It says Finn Balor is in line for a singles push headed into 2025, has solidified himself as a leader in the locker room. So this would make sense if it's not going to happen on Raw, Matt, like you said, this fresh start, move him over to SmackDown and make the storyline that he got screwed out and they basically have excommunicated him from the Judgment Day, which would then put Dominic kind of in charge of the Judgment Day. And the other Raw talent that was kind of a surprise is the World Heavyweight Champion, Gunther, Nick Aldis. So would this imply that not only talent, but titles are in play to shift brands?
They could do something very interesting with Gunther, but now you bring him up, because he's basically a face now. I mean, he just transitioned to be a if you the way he's acting like an honorable heel / face. Like,
he was always the honorable heel, and if you watch the segment with him and Ludwig, he was telling him, he was kind of instructing him on how to be that nasty kind of get under people's skin type of heel. So
well, I would. Here's some, and I say this purely for personal greed because I think it's the greatest theme song of all in wrestling history. Bring back Evolution with Gunther in it.
Ooh, wow.
You know,
Okay.
have Gunther be the leader, right? You know, Triple H can do some manager screen time to pass the torch, so to speak, and you can get two or three younger guys. That Gunther put Kaiser in there, two other younger guys, and Gunther could be their mentor and ring general, and you get the past buzz of Evolution, you get the new guys coming up, and eventually setting obviously a heel turn on someone, and you know, as someone betrays Evolution a year from now, whatever. But I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, but I want to see Gunther lead a faction, like a nice big faction, and you know.
Okay, that's definitely something that could happen. Yeah. It's not going to happen on Raw.
No, I'm just
right.
Just kind of, because I see a lot of these characters to me when I was watching Raw this week, and it seems like their storylines are just sort of floating along, repeating over and over again all year, and you know. Like to say, like obviously because of Rhea, you know, we've gone through 4 cycles of Rhea and Liv this year now.
Just about.
You know, and how many cycles of Damian Priest versus Finn Balor versus Gunther are we going to go through again? You know,
the one more.
Yeah. So I just want to see the storylines move along. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is why I think this reshuffling is happening. Because SmackDown going to a 3-hour show, as it stands now, SmackDown doesn't have the roster to field a 3-hour show. So so then I wanted to wait and kind of see if people from SmackDown were showing up on Raw. Hey, Wade, how are you, sir? One day I'll have Joker on. Hey, let me know if it all works out. I'll be there, man. So and then on SmackDown, where as I kind of said, as Ego kind of laughed during my little video here, because I met with some folks who were like, but Cody Rhodes is the champion on SmackDown. This is obviously just a misdirection. And all of a sudden, who do we see on Raw from SmackDown coming out of Adam Pearce's office? Oh, it's Cody Rhodes coming out of Nick Aldis's office. I mean, Adam Pearce's office. And this goes back to what I said maybe a week or two ago, where Netflix wants CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
So Roman, you just move Roman and Jimmy over. You've already got Sammy and Jay there. And you've got the two halves of the bloodline, one on each show. Okay, fine. Now, so seeing Cody there kind of tells me, okay, titles are in play just to move the titles, at least the top titles. So because your mid-card titles can just stay where they're at. They're not brand specific.
Yeah.
And actually neither are the top titles, but you have the world titles and you have the WWE titles. Now, back in the day, the WWE title was always the A title. It was always on the A show. Okay. And that was on Raw. The World Heavyweight title, which got introduced into the main storylines and everything, is when the invasion angle happened, and they brought over the WCW heavyweight title and just renamed that the World Heavyweight Championship.
Okay, that's why I get confused. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That was always the B title, and it was and it would be on the B show, which was SmackDown.
Okay.
Well, for the last 4 years, SmackDown has been the A show because you got the biggest star and the biggest story on SmackDown. This is going to shift. Raw is going to be the flagship A show. You're going to want your A champions there.
Yeah.
So, and then also, who else was talking with Adam Pearce? Oh,
Tiffy.
Little Miss Money in the Bank. Now, this can go into something else later on as well. So, who you know it? I don't. Welcome. I got Tony back, boo. I got barely 20 seconds of her. It's barely enough beating. Okay, cool. Was WWE on tonight? Not tonight. It is on the Monday and Friday on USA for Raw and SmackDown. On the CW Tuesday for NXT. So this is going to, and so then how does this affect, speaking of NXT, how does this affect NXT? Obviously call-ups.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Based on what we saw at Deadline, we kind of got some clues. Now, Matt, you watched the show earlier
Muted.
I'm muted.
Matt, you're muted, dude. You're muted, dude.
Oh, so Matt
Obafemi came across like a beast on that.
He was absolutely amazing.
And I'm not trying to like hype him over the top, but if they get him in the right program, like he's about 6'5" but he looks bigger than he is. Same with the Undertaker, was like 6'5", but looked like he was 7, type of thing. Or the only one who was ever actually was 7'3" or whatever was Andre.
Right.
All the rest of them are.
Okay.
Yeah. If they package Obafemi right, he could be the next great big man. Correct. He has the athletic talent. He has the ring charisma,
and he just has it.
Yeah,
he has it. Just that intangible. I think I think his accent just kind of adds to it.
Yeah, he knows how to like perform in the ring, not just make the moves, but tell a story.
Right.
He seems a natural, instinctive pro wrestler. And he came across like a beast.
He was amazing.
Yeah. The women's Iron Curtain match, if you watch that, WWE should have been ashamed for that Survivor Series War Games match that the same company could put this women's Iron Curtain match on.
That match was great.
Yeah, great. And for everyone to understand my complaints about WWE women's wrestling, who don't watch AEW or New Japan or Lucha Wrestling for women, okay, watch this match that was on Deadline, the Iron Curtain match, and then go watch any really top level matches for women in WWE, except ones that involve Io Sky, 2 or 3 women, Chelsea, like 5 or 6 women. All those other, you constantly see what I call pause wrestling because they have to constantly, like, they'll do a move, they have to wait for the other person to get to them. They don't sell properly. They don't know how to move like when you have multiple people in the ring, okay, and this is a lucha libre skill. You have to move like a swarm of fish, okay, and everyone has to just instinctively know just how set up the big moves for and it was beautiful. The Deadline match was beautiful. It was so honestly well done. If I had not already submitted my top 5 to you, Joker,
that might have been.
I would have swapped out the one match I put with from the CW women's match with this match because and if that's what's coming, a lot of these WWE top are going to lose their jobs because
I'm sorry. I mean, and I was going to ask you, with how well you said that match wound up. Do you see someone from NXT getting called up to call some of the women's matches?
Oh, now from that match, I could see one, and it's not who you think. So just to give the winner of the Iron Survivor match becomes the new number 1 contender for the NXT top title. So at New Year's Eve, Evil, which will be January 7th, you're going to have Obafemi versus Trick.
Oh, it's gonna be good. Yes.
Trick is dropping the title.
Yeah.
Yes.
Trick is dropping the title and will probably be called up to the main roster. I think it's way too early for Trick. While he does have some mic skills and his presentation is good, as far as his in-ring, he needs to be led. He cannot carry a match. His best match on his entire top run in NXT was when he initially won the NXT championship. And who was that against?
Was it Ethan Page? No.
Ilya Dragunov.
Ilya Dragunov. Ethan was the European champion and all that. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that speaks volumes there. As if that's your best match, look who you were in the ring with.
Yeah. Well, Dragunov. I'm not impressed by
Amazing.
Trick Williams at all. I don't think everyone in the mid card. I don't think everyone in the mid card talent in terms of
Right.
And
Now, as far as the ladies go, Julia, amazing talent, is going to defeat Roxanne at New Year's Evil.
Okay.
And so that's going to bring Roxanne and Cora, because there's nothing for Cora to do in NXT by herself. The only other person that I would bring up that immediately comes to mind was in that Iron Survivor match, and that is Soul.
Yeah.
Soul.
I was about to bring her up. She is an amazing talent.
She is.
And she's tall. Women to be that tall and that athletic, they got to fix her costume a little bit.
That can be
But as far as everyone should go watch that match, and that's everything a WWE match should be.
I'm watching part of the highlights right now. I can see why it looks from the 2 minutes I'm looking at. It looks very fluid, and you're not waiting to get to the spots. They're there.
The spots they were hitting like that. I was like Soul was hitting like AJ style spots.
Right.
Exactly. Okay. Is that who she? Yeah.
And that jumping double drop kick from the rope.
Yes.
And oh my god.
Okay. And then her 450. She did a 450. She did a 450 upshot double clothesline close to the end. Now, someone who surprised me in that match, as far as her character and her emoting in her face.
Oh, what's her face?
Ren Sinclair.
Yeah, she put everyone over in that match.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And as I said about that match was when I said, Ren is in this match, and people are like, okay, who is that? It doesn't matter, because the match was not about Ren. The match was about showcasing these top 4 women, and especially 2 of them, Julia and Stephanie, who performed amazingly. Soul may have stole the show, but you see Zarya and her,
she's
her power set.
Yeah, she's like a combo of Brock Lesnar and Goldberg, like their move sets, but she actually does well.
Yes,
you know what I mean. And,
yes,
but that's a testament to how well the other women sold for her. Like,
is she in the red?
Yes.
She's.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I see what you're talking about. Yeah.
Like,
okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Now she came from the same wrestling school that gave us Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Riot City Wrestling. You know what? And someone here seems to agree with you, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, not just women's wrestling, even choppy men's wrestling. You don't know what the hell out of it.
I'm sorry. Who's calling these? Who's setting up these matches, these spots for the women's?
Shawn Michaels.
Okay, man, damn, that's.
But it's important to remember these women, Julia, Soul, and Stephanie, they came from someplace
Zarya,
where you had to, and Zarya, you had to be able to do this stuff just to get a chance.
So
okay.
So as far as what NXT is, the developmental. Some of it is to develop in-ring talent. Zarya, Julia, and Stephanie already have that in spades. So what they're going to develop is how to work in a WWE production to sell to a hard cam, to do a promo and know where your cameras are. This is to develop that. I think with Stephanie and Julia, part of it is going to be to get a better grasp of English.
Okay.
Because for at least in Julia's case, English is not her second language; it's her third.
Stephanie understands English and Japanese, but she doesn't speak them very well.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And let's see, and Julia is half Japanese, half Italian.
Woo. Okay.
So talk about a mix of languages there.
Yeah. It made 2 more comments related to that. That actually pretty good. Right after the last one you posted, he posted like watching a stream that goes out every 20 seconds, no flow.
Yep.
So, and then again, that's not just women's wrestling. That's all bad wrestling.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's harder for the women. We know that.
Yes.
So, and as I said with the other Tiffany Stratton, seeing Miss Stratton on Raw, this kind of brings me to what's coming up this Saturday.
Saturday night's main event.
And this is going to be huge. This is going to be treated like a mini premium live event, as this was blocked out for. This was initially blocked for 2 hours. Well, they just added a 5th match, so 5 matches in 2 hours plus commercials, promos, nostalgia. That's not gonna fit. So, and from what I heard from Jason Solomon, the Solomon Monster was looking at his local TV listings. The end time of Saturday night's main event is now kind of ambiguous because it kind of goes from the start time, and then the next thing you see is Saturday Night Live, which it's not gonna. This show is not gonna go for 3 hours. No. Is it going to go for 2.5? Okay, and then do some local news, and then go to SNL.
Yeah, and so in TV terms, this is dead time for them. So there's not they could preempt anything for this.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So let's look at the card. Now we have 4 matches here, 3 title matches. 1 just got added. And then we have another title match that we'll talk about in just a second. And let's look at some predictions here. Let's look at Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre. Now, this match just got added on the Monday night. Ego. Make it.
Am I missing something? Is there a build up to this at all, or just
the build up is Sami Zayn teamed with CM Punk and Roman Reigns. Two people who have made Drew McIntyre's life hell.
Okay.
Over the last 2 years.
2 years. Okay. All right.
There's your build.
Okay, I appreciate it. I guess. I mean, I guess it sounds like you gotta the match gotta put him against someone. So I guess it works. Otherwise, I wasn't checking for this kind of a match, so I was trying to figure out what the buildup was or why they put it in there. So, but I guess that makes sense.
So who do you see coming out?
Drew McIntyre.
Drew McIntyre? Okay.
Yeah.
Drew needs to win this, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he needs a win.
Okay, Matt, and your thoughts?
Well, Drew needs a win, that's for sure.
Right.
Sammy doesn't need a win to keep. I don't want to say Sami Zayn is a mid carder. He still has top card ability, but he's like Randy Orton. He could just keep going without needing to win to keep boosting him. And
gotcha. Makes sense.
He's really tied up in the Bloodline storyline, so this is a side match anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
So my thought is Drew not only needs this win, and he's going to win. Drew McIntyre is going to obliterate Sami Zayn.
Yes.
In this match. This match needs to be decisive and send a statement.
Yeah.
So,
I don't necessarily. I don't know. It depends what you mean by obliterate. Like, I don't want to. Sammy should not be jobbed out.
No, not jobbed, but
he should be carried out though. Like that. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
So now we got this little thing right here. As I said, this would happen. Now, based on what I said earlier, Finn, your days on Raw are numbered because I firmly believe there's no reason Gunther to not walk out of this match still the world heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
And I would like, this is just me, to kind of put maybe an exclamation point on his crisis of confidence thing. Stack Finn on Damian and pin them both at the same time.
Not in a regular pin though, with his foot on their chest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like double sleeper.
The general's pin.
You know.
Yeah. I agree with that.
By the way, just to mention, just to get in before, the title that Cody has, because they've merged the titles over the years and split them again, that's the one that has inherited all the previous titles.
Correct.
So, yeah. So
correct.
Everyone is aware.
Okay. And there's something that I'm going to show in just a second, but we're going to go to this match next. Boys, I think it's happening. I really, really do. They're going to pull the trigger. And Io Sky is walking out the women's world champion.
I 100% agree.
She's earned it. And I'm calling this going to be the match of the night.
Also, because now this trade window, top titles are in play. So how do you blow off this feud with Liv and Rhea? Just move the title somewhere else.
Yeah.
Now, also, as a lot of the Liv stands and the Rhea stands out there, which you guys are nuts, by the way, and I'm a Liv fan since the Riot Squad, so I've been a Liv fan. I've been on this journey longer than most of y'all have. Oh my God, this feud it needs to end, and it can finally end with because do you honestly mean to tell me that in a straight up match that Liv Morgan is a better professional wrestler than Io Sky? Get the fuck out of here. Not even close.
Liv is a good mid-carder who can ride the top once in a while, so to speak.
Yes, and a great character.
Io, talent-wise, in terms of what she can do in the ring, is
above everybody.
Yeah.
She's the best. She is the best talent, bell to bell, on the entire WWE roster. Absolutely. So I think that this is going to be where you pull the trigger, because it's time. It really is time.
It is.
And you don't need, and I was so happy because Monday I'm watching the Raw reviews, and we've been talking about this for a couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. You know who finally got on board with this? The Sala Monster finally got on board. It was like, you don't need the title to blow off Liv and Rhea. Pull the trigger, put the belt on Io.
Well, at this point, having the title actually makes it more difficult because their story has been interrupted by injury. And to give you a parallel example, the match of the year to me, by the way, of all wrestling was Swerve versus Hangman in that cage. And that was the end of their feud from a year ago when Hangman got injured.
Right.
What they did before that match, not damage the title, is have Swerve drop the title right before that. So sort of can finish up his feud, and not mess with the title mechanics. That doing this here, getting Io this title, let's Liv and Rhea have a feud, and let's the title go on continue on its course, because the title there's a sort of, sometimes the storylines meet and sometimes they don't. You know what I mean?
And the final image on Raw, Io and Rhea both holding one end of the title. Because again, you live in Rhea stands, you guys are insane. Oh, the match has to end at WrestleMania. No, it doesn't.
Not really.
Okay. Liv, I love her. I love her to death. She is not a main event WrestleMania talent.
No.
Now, Io Sky and Rhea Ripley, that is a main event WrestleMania match. Now, how that plays out, I don't want to see. I could see Rhea winning the Chamber.
Okay.
And then challenging Io. And because then Io would move to SmackDown with the world title. If Netflix wants to keep Rhea on Raw, Io goes over and wins that match. Now, there's one match that is not listed here, but we are absolutely going to crown a new champion on Saturday night's main event, and that is the inaugural Women's United States Champion. Now, I said last week that Naomi would go over in the final prelim match. I was wrong. Yes, folks, that does happen. So, Tiffany Stratton has advanced. Now, take into account the Tiffany Stratton winning that match, going to the semifinals, and now talk of this trade window, seeing top champions talking to the other GMs. Again, we're going in blind, at least I am going in blind, making a prediction on who the finalists are going to be, because we're going to have both semifinal matches this Friday on SmackDown. So you're going to have Bayley versus Chelsea Green, Michin versus Tiffany Stratton. The key match to watch is Michin and Tiffany Stratton. That's going to tell you something right there. Because I would love to see Chelsea Green go on. But regardless, that's not going to be the big story in this. Because if Tiffany Stratton advances to the finals, my prediction is here. Nia Jax comes out to help. Shenanigans ensue, costing Tiffany the chance to be the United States Women's Champion. The champion goes off in the aisleway, holding her belt. Tiffany is upset, and Tiffany finally has enough and cashes in at Saturday night's main event and becomes the new WWE Women's Champion. Because if titles are going to swap brands, is Netflix interested in Nia Jax as the WWE Women's Champion?
Well, adding on to that, Joker, I have to add on to that.
But I just want to say this. No. But would Netflix be interested in Tiffany Stratton as the WWE Women's Champion? Absolutely. Matt?
So I'm looking at the Saturday Night's Main Event on Wikipedia, and it lists the matches in a certain order. And it lists the women's match for the U.S. title as first. If that's the case, that sets up very well doing the cash in right there. Yep.
Okay.
And now that brings us to the final match, which should be the main event for the undisputed WWE Championship. Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens. Hashtag Kevin Owens is right.
I know Cody's going to win, but they should.
Well,
man.
I would love it if they pulled the trigger and gave the title to Kevin Owens. But
I'm okay with that.
But I think the WWE tipped their hand earlier today when they released this. Let me find the spot here. All right, so we're going to look at this right here. They showed this earlier today. This is Paul Levesque and Cody Rhodes. Got a nice little case right there. And Paul Levesque said this.
All right. Okay.
It says one night only. So what could be in this case? Oh, hang on. Something golden. Big old smile from Cody. What Cody Rhodes will be wearing to the ring on Saturday night's main event, because this is a big nostalgia night too. I mean, they're bringing back Jesse the Body to do commentary.
Wow.
Which I would love it. I love it. I love Jesse. So we got that. But what could Cody be wearing to the ring? The winged eagle.
I dig it.
You're not going to have the biggest baby face, the face of the company, the top merch seller in the company, going down to the ring wearing the symbol of this time frame of Saturday night's main event and lose.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
So now, as I said, this should be a lot of fun. I'm actually very excited to see this.
I'd say you better subscribe or we'll bash in some skulls, right?
Thanks, Harley, for letting everyone know to make sure you like and subscribe. All the links are down below in the description. So we're going to move on to the centerpiece of the show, and that is the top 5.
Actually, Joker, right before we do that,
yes, sir.
Let's take a quick look at. I called up the top 10. Merc. You know what I mean?
The merch sellers.
Merc. Yes, I was want to.
Yeah. How do I?
There you go. I've shared it.
Okay, let's do this real quick. Okay.
So this is article is published on 22 November of this year. So it's fairly recent. And this is who for the year. This is our top 10. So Cody is number 1. Roman is number 2. No surprise there. CM Punk, Jey Uso, surprisingly. Cena hasn't wrestled in like 2 years or whatever. He's still top 5. Liv, Rhea, we talked about that. Mm-hmm. Then LA Knight, Randy Orton, and Damian Priest.
Yep.
Now, my only comment about this is I would bet my bottom dollar that WWE has rigged the data they release so that Brock Lesnar is not on this list.
Probably. I mean,
probably
possible. I mean, with certain reason.
Yeah, I'm just saying, but it's just fascinating. Like you can see how the list drives guys getting titles.
Yeah. And so, speaking of titles, WrestleMania. We see lots of titles changing hands at WrestleMania. Now, Brad, who is not here because he's got work to do in the morning. He's got to go to court. He's a lawyer. Like that means anything. No, I'm just joking with you, Brad. We all love you here. So let's take a quick drink for Brad. He's going in trial tomorrow. Good luck, my friend. Salud. I'm not sponsored by either, but I actually do consume your product. So just saying. Unlike those streamers out there. I didn't say that out loud. That was mean. Okay. So Brad has actually turned in his top 5 picks. So we're going to go with our top 5 greatest WrestleManias of all time. So, Ego, we're going to go with our number 5s.
All right. Number 5, I'm actually going to go with how it all started, WrestleMania 1, 1984, I believe. Okay. Just for the simple fact that this had never been done. It was an upstart of WWF. They were trying to compete against everyone that was on the East Coast and decided to open it up and make it this grand thing, Super Bowl for wrestling. And at least from what I've seen from the documentary, there was seemingly a lot at stake to make this thing a huge spectacle. And we wouldn't even have this list if the first one hadn't gone at least halfway right. So for that reason alone, just the sheer magnitude of what was at stake, I got WrestleMania 1 as my 5th best.
Gotcha. All right. Matt.
Just before I do my 5th, on WrestleMania 1, there were actually legitimate attempts to have hits put on Vince Sr. and Vince Jr.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
damn.
So my number 5 is WrestleMania 28. This is notable for the end of an era, Hell in a Cell between Triple H and The Undertaker, which was the end of about a 5-year program between Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and The Undertaker. 5-year. It had, with 27, 28 was Undertaker versus Triple H. 25, 26 was Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels. I think it was 26 was the career ender for Shawn Michaels officially, and arguably one of the greatest matches of all time. But this end of an era Hell in a Cell match was the best. I mean, historical purposes, obviously Undertaker and Mankind is the most known Hell in a Cell. But in terms of best in the ring, what Undertaker, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels did in that Hell in a Cell was amazing. And then throwing the rest of the card, which is, I would say, is the 3rd or 4th best WrestleMania card of all time. To me, WrestleMania 28 is number 5.
Gotcha. Okay, so Brad had WrestleMania 38, and I'm just going over the card here. We had the unification of Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. We had the Anything Goes match. This is all on night 2 between Johnny Knoxville and Sami Zayn. Okay, sure. Night 1, the main event was a no-hold-barred match between Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yes, this was Stone Cold Steve Austin's last match. Whoever said this wasn't is a fucking moron. This also marked the return of Cody Rhodes to the WWE against Seth Rollins. So, good show. I was not hating on this. My number 5, and this is purely because I can say I was there, was WrestleMania 7. So this was supposed to be in the LA Coliseum, over 100,000 possible seats. But the WWE, in their infinite wisdom, Vince McMahon, decided to take one of your main event talent, Sergeant Slaughter, first red flag there, make him an Iraqi sympathizer.
Yeah.
They had to move, so clearly the Coliseum was not going to happen. This didn't even get into the Fabulous Forum. This went to the LA Sports Arena, a much, much smaller venue, maybe 11,000 people. But I was there. And this had the opening match was the Rockers versus Haku and versus Haku and the Barbarian. This is where I saw the Hart Foundation live. They dropped the titles to the Nasty Boys. I saw the Legion of Doom against Power and Glory. The blindfold match, Jake the Snake versus Rick the Mono Martel. Probably the best match of the entire night was a half-hour match between Randy Savage and Ultimate Warrior. Warrior wins. Scary Sherry kicks Randy in the balls, leaves. Randy Orton is left in the ring all by himself. Miss Elizabeth comes out. And one of the greatest WrestleMania moments, I'm getting chills just thinking about it because, again, I was there to see this happen. The reuniting of Miss Elizabeth and Randy Savage. Just absolutely awesome moment. All right, Ego, your number 4.
Number 4 that I've got is WrestleMania 3, 1986. Primarily Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan. I mean, I know for you guys, you must have. I mean, I know you guys probably saw it live around that time. For me, it's just looking at when I saw Andre the Giant, I was like, who could actually beat this guy? A literal giant. I'm like, who's gonna be a giant killer? And it's Hogan. And it made sense to me even as a kid when I went back and watched it. It's just amazing to see when David conquers Goliath, and I thought that was more of the metaphor that they were trying to put forth. And I think that's probably where. I'm not saying it took off, but that's where you really saw that it could be a spectacle by itself, not just something we're trying to set up and bill you as a spectacle. It's like, no, it's spectacle. These matches on this date mean something. I think they didn't get to that point where they got it right until WrestleMania 3. So that's why I got it my number 4.
Gotcha. All right, Matt, your number 4.
WrestleMania 18 or X8, whatever you want to call it. This is arguably the second or third best card of all time in terms of match quality. There are a couple of one or two little dumpies in here, but you had like Diamond Dallas Page versus Christian, short but good. Rob Van Dam versus William Regal, short but good. Undertaker, Ric Flair in was it a hardcore match or was it anyway? It was a really good match. The highlight, the headliner obviously was Triple H versus Chris Jericho, but this is most well known for The Rock and Hulk Hogan, and where he was Hollywood Hulk Hogan, and The Rock was a good guy, and the crowd refused to boo Hogan, and The Rock against Vince. Point to understand.
Wow.
Against Vince's wishes, Vince did not want The Rock to do this. The Rock became the heel for the match.
Right.
He still won it, but he put Hogan over. He made it
mid-match. Mid-match. It just
The Rock understood what the crowd wanted, and Hogan. This was also Hogan passing the buck to The Rock in terms of putting
that year. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a combination of things going on, and Vince just wanted The Rock to beat Hogan to move on.
Solidify.
And at the end of it, this is when Hogan put The Rock over. When Hogan was doing his pose off, and he and The Rock were posing off together.
Yes.
So it was a great moment. It was probably The Rock's last great moment in WWE.
Hogan put The Rock over.
Yes,
they put each other over.
Okay.
Rock put Hogan over for the match. Hogan put Rock over for the career.
Oh, got it. Okay,
and
there we go.
Matt,
okay.
I'll go a step further than this. This is The Rock's only good moment in his entire.
I know you have issues with The Rock, but
fuck The Rock.
I liked a lot of Attitude work.
It didn't.
He's had some good matches.
Man.
It aged like milk.
Okay.
I can be objective with most wrestlers, but there's a lot. Like I said, if that had been the only thing in here, I wouldn't put it on the list. But it was a great. Like you could watch this one from beginning to end. Hell, even Billy and Chuck, who I think all our list of the worst tag teams of all time, were in a really good match with APA, the Hardys, the Dudleys.
Oh yeah, that one.
It was like like an old, it was really good. What else? I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember all the matches in here.
There's a lot on there.
Yeah, and it's a begin. I mean, like the first the number 5 I gave you, 28. A lot of really good matches, but I can understand only watching Undertaker match, right?
Right.
This one, if you're gonna watch it, watch all of it if you've never seen it, because there's a lot of good matches in here.
Okay.
Anyway, that's my number 4.
Brad's pick for number 4 was WrestleMania 30. I'll come back to that, as that is also in my list, and I'm sure it's in other people's lists as well. My number 4, WrestleMania 39. This is the last WrestleMania that had Vince McMahon's fingerprints on anything.
Okay.
And I'm going to go to night one, the main event. The story that was told, and this is where you see Paul Levesque's influence, long-term storytelling. It's the Usos versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn for the tag team championships.
Okay.
And just this, I'm getting chills just remembering this. The story that was told, especially that 6-month arc of Sami Zayn in the bloodline, set this up so well. And the match is going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And finally, in the last 60 seconds, you get Kevin and Sami heads together, and Kevin says, "Let's do this." And just bang, 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 bang. And when it's Sami who gives a haluva kick to Jay, and the story that happened with Sami this entire time, and it's Sami who gets the pin. It's Sami who gets the win. And just the elation. This is one of the best WrestleManias of all time. And of course, night two, a lot of dreams were shattered when Roman Reigns beat Cody Rhodes, but just set up for some things later on down the line. All right, Ego, you're number 3.
All right, number 3. This was actually the first WrestleMania that I think I ever saw, actually live, and that was WrestleMania 30. To give context of this, I know that I want to say March Madness or some game had to have been going on, and I think it was Wisconsin that was playing. And all I see there, it's a close game, but it's not like anyone's going on a run. All I know is that the entire crowd is doing this shit and saying yes. I'm like, what the fuck is this? What does that mean? And they're like, oh, you don't know who Daniel Bryan is? Like, no, who is that? Then I think it was a few days or a week after that, I'm watching WrestleMania, and then they show me the whole thing that Daniel Bryan's had to go through, and at the end, he winds up winning the titles. I'd only seen him those 2 matches that he done. I think it was the night before and the night that he won the title. I'm like, I like this guy. I have never seen someone over from something so simple, just doing this. Like, this is, you could still do this. I mean, it probably wouldn't mean the same, but it's like, whatever this is, I'm doing this too.
It
Really? Okay.
To this day.
Okay. I mean, there are certain things that you do as a reflex without thinking. Like if someone sticks their hands out, the reflex is to shake the hand. Doing this, I'm doing it too. Whatever we're saying, I'm saying it too. I'd never known someone had gotten so over for being that simple and for being that necessarily clean, but having a great story that went along with winning a championship. And that's how I understand what a WrestleMania moment is now because of what I saw happen to him. See, Red 30 was fantastic.
Matt, you're number 3.
Muted. You muted, dude.
Sorry. I'm trying not to. So WrestleMania X7, or as same people call it, 17. Now, before I get to what this is most well known for, this was the first of the 3 times Undertaker fought Triple H in WrestleMania was here. Stone Cold beat the Rock for the title at the end. You had this is probably the most well produced WrestleMania of all time. All the storylines were good. Everything hit. There were no misses or whatever. But someone actually getting set on fire, and all that sort of shit. There were some probably I think the last big appearances for some wrestlers who died are in here. Benoit, Perry Saturn. A couple other things, but the big match here, the one is most well known for, even if you don't remember, is TLC with Edge and Christian.
TLC 2.
Well, yeah, but this is the one they remember. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But this is the second time it happened, but this is the big one. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, so Edge and Christian, Dudleys and Hardys, TLC 2, as you would call it, but the big one, arguably the greatest WrestleMania match of all time and one of the 10 greatest matches of all time.
Amen.
Yeah.
And
Amen to that.
But this is another one you will watch the whole thing. They even had a nice, right after all the energy of that TLC match, they had a battle royal with a nice nostalgia moment where Hillbilly Jim helped the Iron Sheik get one last victory.
Yeah.
That's a nice moment, you know. And you could see when you watch the match that she could barely walk. So Hillbilly Jim was bodyguarding him the whole thing, and all the wrestlers were deferring to him. He put like a half chop in it. They do a full Ric Flair fly over the rope for him, and and right after that humongous TLC match, to have this sort of calm, sort of like nostalgia event worked to calm you down and get you back in the move Undertaker, Triple H, and Stone Cold The Rock. This is so well put together.
I agree.
This is one you watch from beginning to end.
Agreed. All right, so Brad's number 3 was WrestleMania 3. This was the body slam heard around the world. And this is what this is most known for when you talk about WrestleMania moments. This is usually the image that either starts the montage or ends the montage. And so I can't argue with that. This is kind of really, after the first 2, really kind of kicked it into gear.
Okay.
My number 3 is WrestleMania 30 as well. Ego.
Yeah,
I'm with you here. For the simple fact of the Daniel Bryan movement, because Daniel Bryan was not supposed to be on this show at all.
Oh.
Vince McMahon did not want him on this show. And if you want any proof of that, watch the Royal Rumble before this. Daniel Bryan was not even in the Royal Rumble.
Wow.
But because this Yes movement caught on so hard,
man,
you could not deny it. So they made a storyline where Daniel Bryan will face Triple H in the opening match of WrestleMania. But it didn't matter because Daniel Bryan's not going to win. And this infighting between Batista and Randy. And Triple H was going to settle this. And basically, when I defeat Daniel Bryan, I'm going to enter myself into the main event and make it a triple threat. So you get Daniel Bryan, who wins the opening match and basically takes Triple H's spot in that match. And Daniel Bryan wins, and Triple H is pissed off, and he's beating Daniel Bryan like crazy. Is he even going to make it? And here comes Daniel Bryan at the end. One of the greatest WrestleMania moments of all time.
Yeah.
And then holding the 2 belts, the confetti and everything. Love it. Goosebumps every time. So absolutely WrestleMania 30. All right, Ego, you're number 2.
Number 2, the following year, WrestleMania 31. First time I've ever been, gobsmacked, was Seth cashing in. The first thing is
the heist of the century.
I didn't know how Money in the Bank worked at all because I hadn't really seen it before. I've only seen when they grabbed the thing off the ladder, but it was always a title belt. I never knew what the suitcase was. I thought it was a special stipulation that, hey, I can use this against this specific person, not I can cash in at any time. So I didn't know how it worked. So, I mean, the fact that, number one, it was the best RKO I've seen, the reverse curve stomp to RKO at the beginning where he lost to Randy Orton. Because that's the first match. Yeah, right, I was like, you mean the guy that just got RKO'd, that guy is coming back? The fact that he came in, cashed it in, and literally stole the title. I was like, well, I usually don't want to watch the match after a Mania, but I'm like, I need to see what happens. What happened? It was a cool, slimy move, but it worked so well. Like, I became more of a Seth Rollins fan after that, knowing that was a possibility. And I'm surprised I haven't seen it more often. I know they want to give people their moments, they don't want to steal them, but I mean, damn, it was pretty cool the way they pulled it off.
Gotcha. All right, Matt, your number 2.
So my number 2 is WrestleMania 14. Now, there's a couple of reasons for this. One, for about 3 years, WCW have been destroying WWF in the ratings. Okay, and ECW was also starting to eat into to some big time here. And Vince took the year before this to retool it, and this is essentially the opening of the Attitude Era was this WrestleMania. And now some of the matches aren't great, but early on, Triple H versus Owen Hart was a good match, right? But the last two matches, Undertaker versus Kane, and then Stone Cold defeating Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels, the symbol of the sort of 80s rollover of rock star type, Stone Cold,
the new generation.
Basically got his gimmick in ECW by combining Mikey Whipwreck and the Sandman, and then Stone Cold comes to WWE, and this is, he defeats Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels essentially retired for 4 years for medical reasons right after this.
Right.
So this was the beginning of the Attitude Era and the resurgence of the WWE as the top wrestling product.
Gotcha. Okay. Brad's number 2 is WrestleMania 40, just this past one, and we'll go into that in a bit. My number 2 is WrestleMania 17.
Okay.
For, as Matt said, for no other reason, tables, ladders, and chairs too. This is my favorite match of all time, and I'm saying this as a harsh critic of the Attitude Era. This match had everything. There was story. There had run-ins. You had Lita playing in there with the big boys.
Yep.
And the story made sense.
Yeah.
Ego, I am sure this hits every one of your your high spots, wanted and everything. I wasn't a big fan of the ending, but again, these iconic images of WrestleMania. You got Hulk Hogan slamming Andre, Edge spearing Jeff Hardy in midair, and the way Edge sold his landing, just and falling over. Now, some folks could say that the last match and Stone Cold turning heel kind of started the decline of the WWE product, because fans kind of rejected Stone Cold being turned heel. But as far as a start to stop show, bell to bell, it is, as Matt said, it is one of the best produced shows of all time. So absolutely great. WrestleMania 17.
I'll add in the versions of these guys, of everyone's character in this WrestleMania was arguably the best version of their characters.
Probably,
almost everyone. Even for like X-Pac, I'm saying that's how crazy it was.
Oh yeah.
All righty, for our number ones, Ego.
You know what, man? Y'all would think I'd have WrestleMania 17 here, but I got WrestleMania 40, man. That I was just so excited to want to watch it. Normally, when something's on, I was like, well, okay, I'll check it later, or I'll hear about it from someone else. But I mean, you guys generally got me interested in wanting to see the payoff of Cody's story for 2 years. Hell, I even got Shiro to watch it with me and her cousins for like the 6 hours that were, for both nights. We watched all of it, so it actually wound up being, it was something to watch and behold. I don't think Shiro or the cousins actually got the significance of the payoff, but between you guys and my buddy Dogula's telling me about it, especially what they said happened in WrestleMania 39, it's like, hey, you finally got your just due after having to go through all that. The fact that you came back, you worked through it, elevated after slamming literally a sledgehammer on Triple H's throne when you went to AEW. Not a lot of people would
started AEW.
Not a lot of people would forgive that, and it takes a lot of humility to come back, to build up a storyline, and to finally get your payoff. I mean, it was great storytelling. Even with the Rock throwing a wrench in the whole thing, they kind of made that part work. Move out of the way. You're here, but you're not the main person. You're going to do a good job of bringing people in to actually see this great storyline we've been building up. And the payoff was fantastic. I mean, I think next to Daniel Bryan, that's like a top wrestle moment for me too that I saw.
Gotcha. Matt, you're number one.
So to me, there's only one. As soon as you draw this list, I had to do a little thinking about the others and how I ranked them. There was no thinking about this one. Okay, it was the first thing that came to head. Mine, WrestleMania 3. Now,
Okay.
drop some facts on this for you guys. So until the Pope came to America, I don't remember when it was. This was the largest crowd, like indoor crowd, until the Pope came to America like 40 years later. You know,
Wow.
I think this is still the highest attend. No, it's not, because 3 or 4 modern WrestleManias in gigantic arenas. But until some WrestleManias in the 30s, this was the highest crowd they ever got. You know, now Ego, you mentioned the legendary Hogan Andre thing, so I'll add some color to that. Right.
Okay.
So Andre was the king of wrestling for about 25 years. Okay.
Damn.
It was like Andre, then Bruno Sammartino. Okay.
Okay.
So Bruno retired, and because Andre was bank, Andre could walk into your like little $10 like 5 matches to make $50. Walk in and you make $10,000 in one night from the crowd that shows up. You know,
Damn.
Like Andre was bank, and so everyone understood: do not overexpose Andre, treat him like a king, and all that. And even in his declining years, he was very protected, and everything happened. But Andre knew he had one more big payday coming up, and this is back when wrestlers got money from
Right.
And
The buy.
he is the one that came up with the heel turn idea.
Really?
Yep, he's the one.
Oh,
and he said and also he knew the guy who was moving to the top was Hogan, and he wanted to put Hogan over, like all the older wrestlers do. Okay.
Okay.
So he put that idea to Vince, and Vince arranged it. You know, Bobby did a lot of work. Bobby Heenan was like a real manager, not just a show manager at the time.
Okay.
He didn't do that very long though. He only did that for about in the mid '80s for about 5 years before he said it was too much work and became a commentator. You know.
Okay.
So they put that together, and to the point that Hogan wasn't sure, and Vince wasn't sure Andre would let the slam happen until he did. You know. So.
Oh wow.
And that mirrors something, by the way, which we talked about a while back. When they proposed to Hogan the heel turn for the NWO, it was kind of a joint idea between him and Bischoff. Like Bischoff said, I got Hogan to suggest the idea, but he wasn't sure Hogan would go through with it till he showed up at the arena the night it was supposed to happen. And because Hogan was concerned because he was making money as America's hero, you know, and this is a big thing. And it became the greatest heel turn of all time, obviously. But Andre putting Hogan over, and that match is legendary, right? But this is such a great card. All the storylines leading into this, like I remember these matches. One of my favorite wrestlers as a kid was Billy Jack Haynes, and Hercules. And he had a ride with Hercules Hernandez. They had a great match early on. Who else? Brutus Beefcake and Greg Valentine. They beat what were they called before they were the Canadians? The Mounties or whatever.
The Fabulous Rougeau Brothers.
Yeah. They had a great tag team match. This was back when Vince was okay with tag team matches, you know. You know, on and on. But the critical match here, the big match is it's one of my top 5 all-time matches, not just WrestleMania matches. Ricky Steamboat versus Randy Savage. In terms of if the whole thing with Andre and Hogan wasn't like an event in itself, this match would have been the defining thing about it was the longest match of like 15 or 20 minutes. You know, and for those who don't know who Ricky Steamboat is, this is kind of the end of Ricky Steamboat. This is like his last run in WWE before he moved back to like NWA/WCW and the Indies for a while for retirement. But he kind of gets skipped over. But he's on the same tier of wrestlers as Dusty Rhodes, you know, like the second tier of guys below the all-time, you know. And he's one of my all-time favorite wrestlers, obviously. And if you've never seen him wrestle, he wrestles a lot like Bret Hart, but with more of a kung fu gimmick, obviously, you know. You know. And it was an incredible match he and Randy put on. You know, what else can I'm trying to just Harley Race against Junkyard Dog, contrast in styles, short match, but pretty good. A match that was better than it had any right to be. Roddy Piper versus Adrian Adonis.
Hair versus hair.
Lose how to shave their head. I'm trying to remember all of them, but did I say Honky Tonk Man? He was Jake the Snake. Yeah, that was another good.
Yeah.
But the critical match was obviously Hogan versus Andre and Ricky, then Ricky versus Randy. But I could watch this from the beginning to end today and just see great. I mean, obviously, modern wrestling, they're more athletic. They can do incredible moves that the older guys just didn't do and all that. We get that, you know. But
Yeah.
I can watch a 1950s pro wrestling match between Lou Thez and like Nature Boy Buddy Rogers or whatever and enjoy it, you know.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like obviously, I don't want to watch that for 5 hours or whatever. But if you're a wrestling fan, you can enjoy wrestling when the storytelling is proper and the guys do great work from any era. And this is to me why this is the best WrestleMania of all time. So.
Okay.
All right. So Brad went with WrestleMania 17. We've already discussed this. For mine, number one, Ego. I agree with you. WrestleMania 40.
Yeah.
By every measurable the metric, this is the greatest WrestleMania of all time.
Yeah.
And the fact that two of our finalists for match of the year, which we will talk about next week, come from this event, specifically night 2, tells you something about the quality of this match. And as I don't think you were on the panel yet, Matt, when we were discussing this, but after the Mania match we were doing here, and Cody finishing the story, just a weight was lifted off of people's shoulders, and
everybody,
and Samantha Irvin's voice cracking as she's overcoming. I miss her. God, I miss her.
I do. I do
already. And just the overcome with emotion that she was, and just everything about that show from start to finish, which again I think has the best match or one of the best matches of the year, the one right before the main event, Bailey and Io. This match, this show from top to bottom had very few flaws. Well, one major flaw, Jimmy versus Jay, but we won't talk about that. We'll just leave that alone. I mean, if you like super kicks, that's the match for you. So we have a definitive third, second, and first place.
I like it.
In third place with 10 points, WrestleMania 3.
Okay. Dig it.
In second place with 12 points, WrestleMania 17.
Yeah.
And with 17 points, the greatest WrestleMania of all time, according to Overbooked, which is now science. It's locked in.
Yep.
It's the truth.
WrestleMania 40.
That's it. Take it.
So
nice.
We will be doing these next year as well. Different answers, as we'll be opening it up next year to not include just WWE, but all types of stuff. So we got a whole lot of stuff that we can discuss. But until that time, Mr. LeftEyeEgo, what do you have coming up, sir?
Guys, you know what? I'm just turning things down for the month of December, getting ready for the New Year's. Got some plans and things I'm working on, including reading this fantastic book that I got from Lance Nielsen, Silver Screen Journeys. Be sure to check it out. I got this in hardcover. It is well worth the purchase. So be reading this as well, and I'm working some things for December. But I look forward to seeing you guys next Wednesday here at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time.
All right. And Matt, what do you have coming up, sir?
Well, we should be on Roman. Are you on Roman's show tomorrow with me?
Yes, I am.
So we'll be on Roman's show tomorrow. Well, hopefully I can do a whole hour and a half, 2 hours. We'll see. I'm still trying to rebuild my strength. That's what I'm trying to do in December. So maybe I'll try to get a video or two up by the end of the month. I have no real plans other than trying to rebuild my strength and get back into swing things with the live streams, you know. So,
Gotcha. And as Matt said, I will be on with Roman of the Empire tomorrow, and also Friday morning, I will be on a stream with Pops. Me and him going to do one-on-one. Love Pops, and tune in next week, folks, as we will wrap the year up of this little adventure we're calling Wednesday Night is Overbooked, as we'll be going over the best of 2024. According to Wednesday Night is Overbooked, the first over awards, as we will call them. But until that time, folks, on behalf of everyone here, thank you, chat. You guys have been great. Keep watching, keep talking, keep smiling, keep having fun, and toodles.
And here we go.
Is like gravity. All it takes is a little push.
Yeah.